The plight of Pakistan. The conundrum courting Pakistan is not spawned by the Tehrikee Taliban, TTP. The inter-maelstrom is evoked by the national narrative of Islamic identity and the war brokering business evolving from the quasi-state militant clientage alliances. Now, Pakistan was an elite project. Its origination does not pertain to a grassroots movement, but was through the confines of poets, scholars, and political entrepreneurs. Now, the Pakistanis had a lot to lose by seceding from India and were questioning what is the purpose behind a Pakistani state. Now, to generate a political cohesion for state survival, Islamic identity was elected to serve as a national identity that coheres the new state in a Hindu-dominated South Asia. Now, Pakistan's state-building approach emphasized not what it intended to create, but what it seeks to oppose, which is Hindu dominion. The anathema and animosity towards India cannot be reflected conventionally, owing to the stark material and demographic imbalance. So, the viable and the inexpensive strategy was the militant clientage or Islamic militancy strategy. The militant clientage strategy was adopted from the broad contours of Akbar Khan, which became the central component of Pakistan's security policy. Now, Islamabad's dividends from the militant clientage strategy can be encapsulated in three sources. It promoted a common identity to compensate for the lack of coherent founding narrative. It facilitated Islamabad's effort to redress the Indo-Pakistani material imbalance. And it enabled Pakistan to challenge India's occupation in Kashmir and pursue security objectives in Afghanistan. To consummate those ideals and objectives, the Inter-Service Intelligence, or the ISI, was recruiting, nurturing, and empowering fundamental reactionaries, Islamic militants, beginning with the Jammu Kashmir Liberation Front, the Hayman and Naiman Mujahideen, the Lashkar-e-Taiba, as well as the Hekmatyars, the Masouds, the Jalima Ulema Islam, and at long last, the Taliban. Now, the chicken has come home to roost. Pakistan has become a victim of Islamic militancy malpractice. The internal conundrum is occasioned by the principal agent problem, which is replete in quasi-state and military clientage alliances. This problem is occasioned when the agent, being the weak state actor, drift from the security objectives and the political ideals of the hosting state. To give a backdrop, in 1992, when the Afghan civil war commenced, the ISI was aiding the Hekmatyars, which were fierce Pashtun fighters that proved inept eventually. This prodded the ISI to shift gears. In 1994, a group of like-minded students from the madrasas metastasized into a political military entity dubbed the Taliban. The Taliban combated the Hekmatyars and controlled vast swaths of southern and western Afghanistan, and at long last assumed the throne in 1996. Islamabad had an affable relationship with Taliban until 2001. In 2001, when United Armed Forces set foot in Afghanistan, the ISI opted for a double dealing. It seemed to cooperate with Washington while channeling the funds from US Coalition Support Fund to the coffers of Taliban. But when Taliban was ejected from Kabul, it sought refuge in the frontiers of Afghanistan bordering Pakistan, particularly the Torkham and the Khyber Pass, as well as Paktia and Spinboldak frontiers. This prodded Islamabad to eject the Islamic militants from its border. which impelled the Taliban to undergo metastasis, spawning the Tehrikee Taliban, or the TTP. The TTP had two political objectives: combat the coalition forces in Afghanistan and pursue a defensive jihad against Islamabad. The former is absolute now, but the latter is markedly extant. Following the fall of Kabul, the TTP has buttressed in ranks owing to the release of ex-Taliban fighters from prison, which enabled the movement to control vast swaths of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, as well as the FATA area, which is a federal administrative tribal area, home to numerous ethnicities and nationalities. Pakistan's response to the TTP conundrum was a security and administrative course of action. It waged a massive military operation throughout the TTP, and it incorporated the FATA areas into Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. From a political scientist standpoint, the Islamabad's effort to mitigate the TTP conundrum is an cursory and shallow approach. The sole panacea for the TTP conundrum is to renounce Islamic militancy as a grand strategy and repeal the use of religion as an organizing principle by resorting to a secular Pakistani nationalism.